the argument. "Come here!" Anne yelled to her son, Robert, who was the typical 8-year-old running around wildly, full of excitement, like a chicken with its head cut off, getting into everything he found the least bit amusing. "What did I tell you about getting into my garden?" Anne continued as Robert sulked in, his head facing the ground. "I'm sorry, Mommy," he said, as his Uncle John walked in. "Uncle John!" he yelled, racing to him, his voice full of excitement. "Hey, big guy," Uncle John said, picking up Robert. Then he turned his head toward Anne and her husband Joseph, his brother, saying, "Hi, guys." Ignoring John's words, Anne, now in a chair, patting her lap, yelled, "Come here, Robert, you know the drill." "You're not going to spank him, are you?" asked John, with a concerned look on his face. "Yes, I am," Anne said. Setting down Robert, John asked, "What did he do?" "He was playing spaceship in my garden." "Oh, well, excuse him for having some fun." "I've told once before not to get into my garden," she said, angrily defending herself. Now, by this time, Joseph could tell that both his wife Anne and his brother John were getting angry, their voices growing louder every second. So John told his son Robert to go upstairs and play with his games, to avoid him having to hear what would be said. "Take away one of his toys," John said, now taking a step toward Anne. Anne, standing up, said, "What business is it of yours how I discipline my child?" "It's my business if you're beating your child, my nephew," he said, raising his voice as he said it. "Beating!" she yelled. "I do not beat my child. It's called punishment." Rolling his eyes, John said, "Call it what you want if it makes you feel better. I do not use anything but my hand. No belt, no whip, no switch, nothing but my hand." "You're still hurting him," responded John. "Hardly. You can also do psychological damage." "Psychological?" Anne asked, continuing sarcastically. "I'm sure a spanking every once in a while will cause him to grow up to be an angry child." "I mean, he'll grow up not trusting other people, especially loved ones," he said, getting more irritated. "He won't grow up hating me like you do your dad," Anne said immediately, wishing that she had not said it. "I'm sorry, John. I didn't mean it." "No, you're right. A spanking once in a while will be okay," he said blankly. "I'll see you guys later. I have things I need to do." "John, stay," Joseph said, running to stop him. But he wouldn't listen. When Joseph and John were kids, their dad used to beat them in a drunken fit. These beatings were almost daily and for no reason at all. John, being a few years older than Joseph, a teen at that time, would run away, getting it worse when he came back. Which manner of discipline was Joseph going to follow, for or against spanking? On one hand, Joseph has his brother who always protected him as a kid. And on the other hand, he has his wife of 20 years. So Joseph decided he would not choose.